Cadbury Dairy Milk lost 20 grams, same wrapper, same price. That is 10% of your chocolate gone. The CMA, the UK's own competition watchdog, investigated and found 75% of branded food manufacturers raised prices faster than costs during the cost of living crisis. Costs up 8%, prices up 12%. That 4% gap is pure profit, dressed up as inflation. The EU calculated the same practices cost consumers $14 billion a year. 8 countries are pushing to ban them. Britain is not one. Today I'm showing you 3 things. The shrinkflation violation sitting in your kitchen right now. The geographic heist, that means the same bar costs half as much 20 miles across the water. And the 1 to 400 private meetings that explain why nobody is stopping it. Your weekly shop did not just get more expensive, it got smaller. What they're doing behind it is worse than both. They are betting you are too busy to notice the weight change. So far, they have been right. Mars bars, 51 grams to 48. Walker's Wotsits grab bags quietly shrank. Jaffa cakes, 12 in a packet to 10. Quality street tins are over 200 grams lighter than 2009. The same tin that lands on your nan's coffee table every Christmas now holds noticeably less before the lid even comes off. And your Nescafe jar? $2 in 2019. Over $5 today, in under 6 years. That dimple in the bottom of the jar, the indentation under the tin, that is not structural. That is hardware sabotage. A physical engineering choice to hide the missing volume. It is a death sentence for the value of your pound. Reach into a grab bag of crisps. Count how many bites before your fingers hit the bottom. 3, maybe 4. The air-to-food ratio is not an accident. It is the product. Pause this. Go to your kitchen. Pick up any packaged food. Check the weight on the label. Then check it against one from 3 years ago if you can remember. I'm betting you already knew something was wrong. You just didn't know they were doing it on purpose. This is not inflation. This is theft in slow motion. But the missing 20 grams is not the real scandal. The real scandal is what that same bar of chocolate costs in a country 20 miles across the water. I'll show you that in 60 seconds. In 2024, a man named Jordan Cox booked a 33 return flight to Istanbul with an empty suitcase. He walked into a Turkish supermarket and bought Heinz beans, Kellogg's, Oral-B, Doritos, Nescafe. His shop, 34, the identical basket at a UK Tesco, 89. After the flight, after the airport, after hauling a suitcase of ketchup through customs, he was still $20 better off. These are not Turkish products, these are multinational brands, and the gap is not limited to Turkey. Same Cadbury bar, 130 in Germany, 110 in Poland, 210 in Britain. Germany uses the euro. Wages are comparable. The supermarkets look exactly like yours. Same factory, same lorry, different checkout. This is not a currency glitch, it is a supply chain lockout. The manufacturer looked at a map of Europe, colored Britain red, and decided you would pay more. Corporate pricing software that treats the UK as a high-trust, high-margin test market. Different sticker, higher price by design. But the price gap is not just economics. It is the end result of 1,400 private meetings that happened while you were asleep. And I'll show you the minutes of those meetings in a moment. First, you need to see who actually owns your receipt. Walk down any UK supermarket aisle. You think you are choosing between dozens of brands. But the truth is, you are simply not. Kit Kat, Cheerios, Shreddies, Nescafe, Haagen-Dazs, all Nestle. Marmite, Hellmann's, PG Tips, Ben & Jerry's, Pot Noodle, all Unilever. Cadbury, Oreo, Toblerone, Philadelphia, all Mondelez. Walker's, Doritos, Quaker, PepsiCo, Heinz Beans, HP Sauce, Kraft Heinz. 5 companies in fancy dress. Now pull apart one receipt, a loaf of bread, $1.40. The farmer who grew the wheat clears 1/10 of a penny per loaf after costs. The supermarket takes 3%. The middleman takes the rest. Milk farmers get 46p a liter. You pay 1.70. Every product the University of Portsmouth tracked, same story. 1 in 5 UK farms did not turn a profit last year. It is a death sentence for the British farm. Now the supermarket. You'd assume they're pocketing the difference. Tesco's margin, 3.9%. Sainsbury's, 2.5%, not yacht money. The farmer earns pennies. The supermarket earns single digits. So where is the rest of your 140 actually going? The manufacturers in the middle, the 5 companies, 15 to 18% profit margins. Nestle alone runs at 17%. Picture a dairy farmer in Devon selling milk at 46p a liter, below what it costs to keep the cows alive. Then Nestle publishes their annual report, 17% profit on that same milk. On the other end of the chain, the Trussell Trust handed out 2.9 million emergency food parcels last year, a 46% rise in 5 years for families with kids. Farmers can't afford to grow it. Families can't afford to buy it. The farm is a hobby. The chocolate is a heist. Quick thing. Next time you are in Tesco, pick up a jar of Nescafe or a box of Cheerios. Check the price per 100 greener. Then Google the same product on a German supermarket. Rewe, Edeka, Lidl.de. Drop the product and both prices in the comments. I'm betting the gap is bigger than you think. Now the part they bury. In May 2024, the European Commission fined Mondelez $337 million for 22 anti-competitive agreements across 14 years. They told wholesalers to charge more on exports. They cut off a German trader who tried to sell into 4 other countries. They severed supply in the Netherlands to stop products reaching Belgium. In 2019, AB InBev, Stella Artois, and Budweiser got fined $200 million for the same trick with Jupiler beer. Same brewery as Stella, same liquid, different label, higher price. The EU has an enforcement mechanism. It has used it. The UK has no equivalent. And the CMA, our own watchdog, published the 4% inflation gap finding and then quietly closed the file. No fines, no referrals, a PDF, and a long lunch. Then look at who is actually in the room. Between January 2020 and June 2024, DEFRA ministers, the people running UK food policy, met with the food industry 1,400 times. They met with food charities and NGOs 35 times, 40 to 1, and those are only the meetings they logged. The Scientific Advisory Committee on Nutrition, the panel shaping UK school meals and NHS guidelines, was investigated by the BMJ in 2024. 11 of its 17 members have financial ties to food corporations. In 2023, the government drafted health guidance telling people to eat minimally processed foods. The Food and Drink Federation emailed the Department of Health asking for those 2 words to be deleted. They were deleted. DEFRA's own annual report used to publish one single number, the percentage of the retail price reaching the farmer. One figure. It told you if the system was fair. They removed it. They deleted the data that proved the system was rigged. They met 40 times for every one time they met a charity. They aren't governing. They are collaborating. Under the Consumer Rights Act 2015, you are entitled to protection from coordinated anti-competitive pricing. That protection exists. It is not being used. Your dairy milk shrank. Your Nescafe doubled. The same bar 20 miles east costs half the price. The farmer earns a tenth of a penny. The corporation clears 17%. And 1,400 private meetings later, nobody who could stop it has even tried. This is not Brexit. Mondelez were running this system in 2006 while we were still in the EU. This is a pricing model built on one assumption, that you will grumble and then pay. Stop accepting the receipt. Stop ignoring the weight. Start reading the maths. The loophole is your ignorance. Close it. If you've ever stood at a UK checkout and thought this cannot be right, you were right. The prices are not random. The gap is not inflation. The receipt is a policy document written by 5 companies and approved by no one you voted for. If this is the first time anyone has shown you the maths, subscribe. Because this is not just about biscuits, it is everything you are buying. The supermarket aisle is running the same playbook as every other UK category. Engineered shrinkflation, prices dressed as inflation, regulators on the wrong side of the table. And the next one is worse than this.